I have a story to tell you of a little boy who became a towering giant. It's not just a story of constant prosperity and happiness, but also a story of hardship, struggle, and tremendous sacrifice, which together teach who he really was to generations of girls and boys like you. Little Mustafa had blonde hair and blue eyes as immense as and beautiful as the Mediterranean. He was born in 1881 in a 3-floor modest house in Salonika. He lost his father when he was 7, the beginning of an arduous life of an orphan child. He had to work early on and work very hard. His family had to move out of Salonika to live in a small village. He scared crows in bean fields with his sister Makbule, whom he often teased like any decent rascal brother would do. He started going to a new school where he got bullied and beaten up. He was just 10 years old and petrified. He was taken out of the school, but he did not give up. Mustafa was exhilarated when he started attending the military school. He was going to wear the uniform after all. Even as a child, he had a great affection for being well dressed. He loved mathematics, so much so that he could substitute at school for his teacher, who gave him the name Kemal. He had a crush on Şevki Pasha's daughter, whom he sometimes tutored after school. He could never tell her how he really felt. He studied hard at school. He graduated and became an officer in the army of a dying empire, which was in a constant state of war at many fronts. He had a deep affinity to rhetoric and oratorical expression. He was many a time found at social stages to talk to audiences of his fellow officers and citizens. The young, sharp-dressed officer got in trouble, often and disciplined, for speaking his mind about freedom and liberty, and for publicly questioning the authority within the empire. The inception of our republic was impending in his mind. He got arrested at the age of 24, interrogated for days, and spent 2 months in solitary confinement. He was young and fearless, and he would not be silenced. At 25, he was exiled, but he would not be contained. While liberating homelands of others in another battlefront, he learned Turks lost Balkans, his homeland. He was 31. He was devastated, but he could not be more determined. The fabric of our republic was being slowly woven in his head. Kemal was 5'8" and weighed 160 pounds. He loved all animals, but his favorites were horses and dogs. Although he owned quite a few horses, the apple of his eye was Sakarya. He did not have much money, but he did not complain. He thrived in frugality. He knew how to do more with less. More than in his own bed, he slept in trenches and battlefields. He was awake more than he was asleep, but he was also more awake than his adversaries and his own people. He had health problems. He struggled a lot. His kidneys failed. He had a heart problem. He survived malaria. As he defied the fate that was cast for his people by the powers that be, he defied his own ailments to march on to a different fate he had in mind. Mustafa Kemal was a voracious reader, a true philomath. His insatiable curiosity only magnified his superior intellect. He had read 3,997 books. How do we know this? These books have his personal notes and remarks inscribed in them. His most favorite was Çalıkuşu, a love story, which he never parted with, even in battlefields. He spoke Turkish, Greek, French, Arabic, German, and English. He wrote 14 books. Even during the darkest, the fiercest moments of battlefields, he He read, studied, and contemplated. He wasn't just thinking about the enemy or the outcome of the battle. He was planning, inventing, organizing for the future. The foundation of our republic was being methodically laid in his mind. Although he tasted the bitterness and dismay of betrayal, not just by his allies, but also his close friends, he never allowed himself to be daunted. He was sentenced to death by the Sultan of the dying empire because he refused to surrender liberty and his homeland. He would not be deterred from reaching his ultimate goal, his people's right for self-determination. The hero of the Dardanelles, as he became to be known, rose even higher in the minds and the eyes of his people and found its eternal place in their hearts. People who, in their desolated homeland, had lost all hope for their future, found through him an exit to eternal liberty and peace. Our republic was born. Mustafa Kemal spent most of his life in battlefields. He experienced the atrocity of war. He saw the savage nature of it. He got wounded twice. He believed in perpetual peace and famously declared, "The peace in the world could only be achieved if there was peace at home, every corner of our home." He got married. He got divorced. He didn't have children of his own, but he adopted and provided for 8 children. He knew how difficult it was to grow up without a father. He couldn't dedicate his life to another person, for it was already and passionately dedicated to our republic. Mustafa's fight wasn't over. He had more battles to win, reforms that would entrench the republic's eternal existence. He was relentless. He kept reading, studying, planning, and inventing to fight for our survival while he was grossly neglecting his. His fragile body finally gave in 80 years ago today at 9:05 a.m. Despite all the odds and adversity he had to face or took on in his life, he never stopped, he never gave up, and most importantly, he never surrendered his soul. Never surrender your soul. You must relentlessly pursue what is right for all, for their peace, happiness, and prosperity. Fear not the struggles of life. Fear not to lose your job. Fear not to be poor. Fear not to lose your friends. Fear not speaking your mind. Fear not questioning the norms. Fear not to be alone in your fight. Fear not being true and honest all the time, every time, to everybody, even if it seems impossible. Atatürk fit an eternity in his short life, which he graciously spent building a republic that reminded us our own identity and forever changed how we lived and how we wanted to live. His unremitting dedication and bond to us and to our republic was so strong, it is impossible to separate Turkish Republic from Atatürk. Whenever you see his picture, you're not looking at a person. You are looking at an idea realized. You are looking at the most precious gift one can give to another. You are looking at your past and future. You are looking at yourself. Celebrate yourselves. Celebrate the Turkish Republic. Celebrate him. This is not a day of mourning. Thank you.
Çok kısa Pelin Balı'ya teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Gördüğünüz sulu boya resimleri